I guess. And it's really annoying. I still will. I mean, I've complained about this a lot, but it's hard. It's really hard while I'm sick, and I don't know why, because it's been going on for basically 2 months now. Almost a month, I'd say. Maybe a month and a half. Anyways, yeah, I think I'd take a bit of. Well, let's go around and talk to everybody quickly. Then I won't feel bad about like actually missing some dialogue that's recorded off screen. So yeah. A burly smith draws his arm across his brow and nods to you. Kenrick rather, smelter. Not quite a master, but you know, getting there. I've never worked this high up before, he shrugs. First time for everything. Let's put you to work making me some weapons, shall we? He nods. Let me show you what I have already. Holy crap. I love how you made camping supplies. That's really good. Okay, was that it?
So, your latest acquisition has me thinking about the spires some more. By all accounts, they go as far back as the old walls. Over the centuries, the nobles of the tiers have claimed the spires, but they've only ever battled over the land at the ground level of the monuments. I've never seen the glyphs of a spire light up in all my years. Not until you show up. If this were an isolated incident, I'd be confused. But it seems the spires, plural, are somehow connected to you. What's your secret?
I've studied at Tunon's feet, proclaimed edicts, broken them too. I'm sure I've been exposed to all sorts of arcane powers. A long sigh escapes Lantry, and he sticks his quill in his mouth, chewing on the tip. His head tilts from one side to the other, muttering in choked half words. I always want to know what you're thinking.
If I had the words for it, I'd share. I'm just not sure what to make of it. I'm realizing how much more there is to learn.
Okay. Have a moment, let's talk further. So what's on your mind? Did you want to discuss matters of the present, or would you prefer a more scholarly rant? Let's discuss current matters.
Of course. How can I help?
Really? I didn't know we could actually ask him about that. That's interesting. What are your thoughts on our traveling associates?
Are you asking for an objective assessment? Or is this your way of saying you want to gossip?
Yep, sure do. Thoughts on Verse?
A most fascinating specimen. I think she has great potential. A dangerous amount of potential, to be blunt. The Scarlet Furies are the fighting elite of the Scarlet Chorus, and that means floating to the top of a sea of blood and chum.
Okay.
We should consider ourselves lucky to have her on our side.
Yeah, that's right.
With her weapons usually pointed away from us.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Barrick, what do you make of him?
You must have some leverage over him, as I would have thought he'd lead us into a disfavored trap long ago. Or maybe the Legion is just that polite? I must admit, I am completely fascinated by his predicament. Ever tried diagramming the articulations of his armor? Don't. It'll only lead to madness and ruination.
What do you make of Ebb?
Good tidecasters stay underwater. Kairos did the Tiers a favor by erasing those moon howlers from history. A shame one of them escaped justice.
How nice of you.
I like that I make you this agitated. Considering all the things that don't seem to bother you in the slightest. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of getting off on how much power you're giving me here.
Wow.
Oh. And then there's your coquettish act whenever someone calls you on your teeth. I'll be the one ready to tangle when, not if, you decide to pounce.
Okay. What do you think of traveling with Siren?
As a chronicler of history, I am most honored to have the chance to travel alongside a luminary. I can write down her speech word for word, letter for letter, and proclaim it back, but yet the words lack her charm. This supports my hypothesis that her power manifests by the actual sound of her voice, and less of the particulars the words chosen. Fascinating.
Fascinating indeed.
So, if I'm hearing you right, you're saying my words have no weight or significance, and it's simply my magic that makes me powerful. I've got a song for you, Lantry. Do you want to hear it?
What? It's high praise.
What's your read on kills in shadow?
Aggressive, homicidal, and best kept on a long leash with a longer whip. I'm a poor judge of beasts. I've known so few, and none resemble the scribes and scholars to which I'm accustomed.
Okay.
But there's a blunt honesty to her that I rather enjoy. She wants to bask in your power and makes no excuses for the self-interested nature of her loyalty to you. Such refreshing transparency is rare in humans.
Let's talk about something else.
I am nothing if not a semi-reliable font of knowledge. What did you want to discuss?
I have questions about our allies and enemies.
Well, you might want to ask a more soldierly type about the armies, but do you want to talk about the Archons or other mages?
The mages. More than I will readily admit. Which guild? What of the Blood Chanters? The Blood Chanters are a motley to call them a proper guild insults other traditions. Most of the number were members of the school of Wild Wrath, but they sold their loyalty to the voice of Nerat. The Blood Chanters draw their magic from the sigil of Siren and from the fire magic of Thousand Embers, the Archon of Fire. Okay. They brought with them their fire magic, adopted from the long-dead Thousand Embers, Archon of Fire. Guess it's a little surprise that fire mages would find a welcome home in the chorus. Okay, like to know about this guy, definitely. One of the most influential but briefly lived Archons born in the tiers. Thousand Embers, 26 tier to 73 tier. Archon of Fire had a knack for making things combust and a strong motivation to assist his fellow man. What? A fact of great relief to most, as none of the local lords could pay their soldiers enough to apprehend him had he cared to use his powers for extortion or destruction. Obsessed more with writing, he penned a number of exploring inner fire, the human drive to eat, reproduce, and destroy, containing a great deal of introspection on his own use of fire. When he disappeared in 73 tier, it took all 3 years for a cabal of mages to appear, claiming to be the true inheritors of his power. The School of Wild Wrath had a wild understanding of Thousand Embers' command of fire, but rough was not enough. Rough was enough. Fire is not a medium that calls for finesse. Well, the School of Wild Wrath have long told the story that Thousand Embers is literally living as 1,000 embers, waiting to reconstruct himself when the time is right. A few of the Fate Minders who worked very closely with Bleeding Mark happen to know that the Archon of Shadows made the rare gesture of inviting him 3 times to join the Kairas, before offering an ultimatum or die. Oh, I see. He actually stood against Kairos. Okay, that's very interesting, because this is actually a good aligned character. That's interesting. Fire is now but one of their tricks. Their real trick is magic of passion, frenzy, and fear. Such magic is based on the sigil of Siren, Archon of Song. Such worthless peasants who borrow power to expand the realm of an undeserving monster. I won't be happy until the whole group is obliterated. Are there other guilds in the tiers? The big three, Ink, Tide, and Wrath, just pushed out most of the other schools ages ago. History makes note of the Cutters, the School of Flowering Winter, and a few others that did not survive the little wars our schools would wage, but I know little of these footnote schools. Well, we kind of know about the Earthshakers and the Forgebound.
Well, you might want to ask him.
What about the Archons? What do you know about Tunon, Archon of Justice? First, I suppose I should ask what you know of him. He is true to his core mission. He is fair and just. Fair and just by your measure, that is. Tunon, Archon of Justice, exists in text spanning back hundreds of years. I can't say I know how he came to be the Overlord's adjudicator, but maybe you know that one. But he oversaw the conquest of Tundra's sovereigns, and they bowed to Kairos in the year 83. I know much of such luminaries, so I'm careful with my words, but ask if you must. What about Bleeded Mark? Very little. His name is not printed in many texts. I know that he is sworn to Tunon and acts as an assassin. I know he goes back a long ways, though. I've long assumed he served Kairos just as long as Tunon, give or take. What about Saren?
Not the youngest Archon in history, but certainly one of the younger, and history has yet to write much about her. And if I happen to be the first to write about her, well, that will look nice for my legacy.
My life isn't a performance for your amusement, Sage. If you want to write about something, make your own miracles.
You should be flattered that Landry finds you so unique.
Flattered at the attentions of an old man who seems to fancy a little girl? If I wanted that kind of attention, I would have stayed with Nerat.
Okay. What do you know about Karn? Of him, I know very little. I believe he was the wild man of the hills that Graven Ash subdued in 402. But only one source suggests that link. He was famous for being, well, a big sour jerk. He let his mouth run off about Kairos, and that was the end of his story. Voice of Nerat. The voice of Nerat, I guess, is one of Kairos' most dangerous and unpredictable servants. He can pull memories, whole personalities, if you believe some reports, from his victims, and over time, this has created a single Archon with the knowledge of countless lifetimes. Beyond that, I know he served Kairos for close to 200 years. He was one of the generals of the War of Northern Unification. And small world, Graven Ash was his enemy at the time. Yeah, we know what that is. Archon of War.
Ash has served with Kairos for a mere century, but he has been a reliable general and level-headed warlord. Certainly when compared to some of the more bloodthirsty Archons to serve under Kairos. I'm not saying the disfavored are merciful. I'm just saying I've read the stories of the Archon of Blood and know it could be worse. I know Graven Ash can defend his soldiers from far away. Ash's Aegis is the term us Arcanophiles have taken to calling it. Not surprisingly, Graven Ash is beloved by his troops. I mean, if Tunon could mystically protect you from cudgels and sharp sticks from leagues away, you'd like him more.
Well, I actually like him quite a bit, so no, I disagree. Okay.
I am nothing if not a semi-reliable
How about Arcane Matters?
And I'd be happy to oblige. Ever since the fall of the Vellum Citadel, it is hard to find someone with whom I can discuss such things.
What do you know of spellcraft?
I've forgotten more than most blood chanters have ever learned.
All right.
Is that so? Then let's talk about it, Lantry. What do you know? The knowledge isn't doing any good locked up in that impressive brain of yours. Tell me what you know, Lantry. What secrets do you know?
Siren rocks her head side to side like a snake in front of its prey, and as she speaks, her voice takes on a strange medallic quality. Siren, not now.
Whatever. I could have made him tell you anything you wanted to know, but that's fine. You go ahead and ask your probing and insightful questions. I'll wait over here.
Okay. You do that.
What do you want to know?
What can you tell me about signing magic? Scholars don't have a good word for what Archons do when they cast magic. Couldn't tell you how Graven Ash casts his protection over his soldiers, nor would I know how Bleeding Mark consciously decides to move through a shadow. But when us mere mages want to cast a spell, we do by signing the sigil of an Archon that previously discovered the magical phenomenon in question. It's debated whether the Archons can create new magic or discover magic that was waiting for us, but such questions seem impossible to answer while sober. Can you teach me anything?
Most certainly. I probably should have shown you how to mend wounds sooner.
Oh my god.
If you have a moment, I can show you the healing sigil I was trained to use.
Heck yeah. No time like the present, really. Rummaging through his satchels, the sage produces a long quill and crumples a crumpled piece of parchment. With several quick strokes of the quill, he inks a pattern on the page. We'll start with the first principles. When mending wounds and easing pain, we evoke the magic of Orphan Midwife Arcana Rebirth. By evoking her sigil, we channel her mastery, however briefly, through her hands. Now trace the sigil, following the lines in the order I sketch them. Follow his instructions. Since this isn't your first cantrip, I'll move a little quickly, but I think you can keep up. Lantry walks you through countless repetitions of signing the mystic sigil. For hours, you wave your hand in the air to no effect, until at last you send the pattern in the air and feel a rush of power through your veins. What? And so, if you need to heal pain, as opposed to purge an affection, you'd best move your hand like so. But you know, that's enough for now, and I think the rest you can figure out on your own. Okay, what sort of magic did the sages teach you? Sage Sindon tutored me in traditional sigils, those of preservation, concealment, and healing, as derived from the bygone archons of Theravis, Fading Wrath, and the Orphan Midwife. The preservation magic is largely functional, sealing parchment, binding books, that sort of thing. All of us chroniclers learn concealment magic, as our ideal method would be to study events without contaminating the decisions being made. As for the healing magic, many of us modern sages study this a great deal. The school has a shoddy reputation among the common folk. I figure if they knew us as healers and caregivers, maybe we'd start to change opinions. Okay, healing. Now that's a noble craft to study. True, but given how accident-prone I can be, I think the person that benefits most from my magic is me. Wow. But certainly the most gratifying spells I know are the ones that ease pain and suffering. They make me feel slightly useful. You're definitely useful,
And
actually.
I'd be happy to oblige. Ever since the fall of the Vellum Citadel, it is hard to find someone with whom I can discuss.
What do you know about the Archon's magic? I've studied many of the Archons for many years. Compared to the other sages, I'm an expert on the subject, which is sad because I feel like I've still so much to learn. How's an Archon born or bred? I think we all dream of one day waking up and being an Archon. Given some of the madmen and loons that have exhibited mystical greatness, it can seem unfair that the rest of us can't do it. I can say with confidence Archons aren't born, they become. Graven Ash is a good study of this. Before he was the Archon of War, he was a successful commander, each victory more daring and glorious than the next. Somewhere along the way, his leadership took on mystical qualities. The Graven Ash we know today can reach out and protect his soldiers from harm, but maybe at first he could just protect those near him. I wouldn't know for certain, but at least all will attest that he didn't have this power his whole life. Then he's lucky. I can't remember a moment when I wasn't plagued by this power. Really fascinating. So in sum, it really is a lifelong quality. Well, if it were easy to make sense of these things, it wouldn't be academic. Are all Archons loyal to Kairos? Officially, yes. In actuality, no. Those with the true gift for magic always come to the attention of Kairos. A few manage to evade his attention for a bit. The School of Tides was founded by one such uncontrollable, but these are history's exceptions. Occult Jade. Arcana Tides never bowed to Kairos. It's said that she survived the assassins sent to silence her. It makes her flight from Kairos before the war all the more troubling. We knew her as the symbol of strength, but when threatened, her weaker nature won. When we write the biographies of the Archons, we often refer to them as exarchs in their formative years before stepping into their prime. But officially, Kairos is supposed to grant all titles of Archon. It's quite the fox pass to self-appellate. Exactly why Jade insisted in calling herself Archon of Tides. She didn't need Kairos' approval to wear the title she deserves, and I know she loved that fact, that doing so must have annoyed Kairos. How does the Archon of Magic, I mean, the magic of Archons work? The Archons all have mystical powers that are intuitive. When the voice of Nerat pulls out someone's mind, or Graven Ash protects his soldiers, that magic isn't assigned spell or ritual. To them, it's closer to flexing one's hand. Archons are what's the word for it? Axiom of magic, the root of magic, spell pioneers. Okay, great. I'm sure this analogy is off in many ways, but I see the Archons as the mothers of original magic, and everyone else is just imitating them. To confuse things a bit, some Archons learn to cast their spells in the same fashion as us, lesser mages. If you are as important as an Archon, you learn quick that all knowledge is power. Okay.
And I'd be happy to oblige. Ever since the fall of the Vellum Citadel...
We can speak more to him later. Sweet, Sigil of Life, that'll be fun to work with. So, who is Rivos, Tanara? Fatebinder, come take a look. The dirt-caked Apex local gestured to an old box at his feet. I've got a Beastman cub in here. I doubt that's very much. You step up to the huckster and peer down in the box. It's full of assorted junk, nothing more. Before you can comment, you notice him reaching for your ring belt out of the corner of your eye. Grab his hand. He makes a high-pitched squeal that echoes over the expanse of the valley. I didn't mean anything. I didn't mean anything by it. I promise. I just wanted to see how many rings you had, so I could adjust my prices accordingly. Rivos at your service. I've come into possession of some items that might be of interest. He waggles his eyebrows. Are these stolen? At first, he seems ready about to spout out a hasty answer, but he paused and reconsidered. No. Not in the sense that they aren't stolen, but yes in the sense that I'm not entirely, he coughs into his fist, licensed by the disfavored. Or, I guess by Tunon. But, wait! He puts his hands up before you throw me into Tunon's dungeon, or worse, consider this. He spreads his arms and turns in a circle. We aren't standing on Terratus. We're standing high above any citizen who is subject to the Overlord's law, and this place couldn't possibly be subject to the same rules that govern down there. He stamps his foot and points to the land below. I need to consider the legalities. In the meantime, I'll take a look at your goods. Ooh, he has upgraded Fatebinder of Tunon armor. Okay, that's really interesting, because I like the way that looks. So, is one heavy and... No, they're both leather. What? Weird. Okay, well, I'll definitely be looking at this later. Tanara. You see a bronze-clad woman in meticulously maintained attire. The leather buckles in her chest piece show fresh oil, and the scales in her armor have been neatly arranged. She gives you a quick bow as you approach. Fatebinder. Her expression is neutral, and her tone of one forced cordiality. I am ready to serve as requested. Though the Apex of old is no more, I am ready to help you and find its new place. Help you find its new place in the tiers. Wait, are you really from Apex? Should you need any instruction in the matter of combat, I will assist. Have you been in Apex all your life? Yes, proudly. There's no greater duty than to serve your country. Apex's challenges are many, and they are rarely addressed abroad. This valley has been assaulted time and time again. What would have remained had we abstained from vigilance? What is your approach to training? Instilling resolve, first of all. We all need purpose for the fights ahead, and unless you know why you bleed on the battlefield, it'll be all too easy to succumb to the fear and pain, and discipline most of all. The Guard received hothead recruits all the time, and they would all be dead if they charged every time their blood boiled. I'd like to train. Well, actually, not really, but alright. Oh, we actually have a bed here, kind of. Who is Corpse Eye? Oh. Freaking Scarlet Chorus, huh? Well, if it ain't the big bad boss. Come to take a look at my wares, handpicked from the finest of battlefield corpses, I can assure you. The Scarlet Chorus's member Milky Dead Eyes roll in their sockets as he bows, deeply, mocking you. Can I push you off the cliff? What'll it be, boss? Mind your tongue. I've killed for less. And all this time, I thought it was only my eyes I had to worry about. Yeah, okay, I know when to bite my tongue. Corpse Eye. Not really a name you come across every day. Unusual, yeah? His eyes, cloudy and scarred, bob unfocused in their sockets, and he grins at you, revealing several cracked or missing teeth. Fitting? You tell me. You can't shake the eerie sense that, despite appearances, Corpse Eye is in fact able to see. After all, didn't you recently witness him fighting on the battlefield? Regardless, he doesn't. I think I did, actually. Regardless, he doesn't seem to find his conditioning at all distressing. How did you end up in the Scarlet Chorus? How does anyone, if not through piss poor luck? You know what happens when the chorus comes calling at your door and you don't open it? Worse than this, he warns, waving 2 fingers over his eyes. But I figure I've made my way of things, working for a fate finder now. What finer honor could there be, right? He laughs, chokes, and hawks a glob of spit at your feet. You're really pushing it, huh? What do you think about the voice of Nerat? If I were a betting man, which I am now thanks to the chorus, I'd put my rings on Nerat, and any curl with 2 twits about him would do the same. The Scarlet Chorus member shrugs. I don't fear many things no more, but he's sure one. You don't have to be afraid. You're under my protection now. Ooh, did you hear that? The Fate Finder's looking out for little old Corpse Eye. A woman of real principle, my boss is. Yeah, I thought this would happen. What? Did you expect my thanks? Because he's loyal to the frickin' Scarlet Chorus. I'd like to talk. Sure, boss, you talk. I'll pretend to listen. I prefer one-sided conversations with figures of authority. It makes it real easy for me. What do you got to sell? You're selling me Scarlet Chorus weapons? Really? That's very curious, but okay. Well, that's very interesting. I will not at all disagree with this, but hey. Okay. Awesome. What is this? Your influence spans even further, and you can almost hear whispers of 1,000 voices echoing through the resonator. If you concentrate, it would appear you could begin the same trance that showed you glimpses of the previous spire. Is this? So this shows us the other things, right? Yeah, I think we've already done this. Right? I'm pretty sure we have. Okay, well, because I think it just shows you the other places of power. So, specifically the spires. Anyways, I think this is a good place to just take a bit of a break. We have merchants, so I could do our, optimizing again. I'll rebind keys, and hopefully things will be easier for us from this point forward, but I think I'm making it harder for us too, because... Oh shoot. Did we not actually send something? Well, I guess... maybe we don't get any more mail because we're not enemies of the Fate Finder though. I mean, not the Fate Finder, Tunon, right? I'm a bit curious. Hold on, before we leave here, can I not go to Tunon's court? It would be... It's not Ironhearth. Wait. It doesn't seem like we actually can go to, what's it called? The Bastard City. No. Oh, wait, we can. Okay. Alright, so... We're still friendly with Tunon as far as I'm aware. I don't know if we go there, because I think we would just make him mad, but hey. Good. Can we just exchange people from here? We can. Sweet. Anyways, let's take a bit of a break, and I'll see you guys later. And hopefully you'll feel a little bit better, because I kind of honestly do not expect to recover from my cough anytime soon. I don't know why, but it's continuing. In any case, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.